Marketing and selling is essential in your online business. And when you have the right strategies and mindset, you not only can make a lot of money, but you can change a lot of lives. Welcome to the Online Marketing Podcast, where we help course creators, membership owners, and coaches market and sell their offers.
We're your hosts, Paul and Melissa Pruitt. Let's dive in and get started.
We're sharing our top tips on building your launch list.
You mean we're not going to start at the bottom and work our way up?
We're going right to the top.
Right to the top.
That's right.
I'm really excited about this because you know what? Launching is like life for us.
Yes.
You know? And I think this is a topic that gets thrown around a lot of times. So I'm really super excited to be talking about this today.
Yeah. And launching is one of those things that I think you would, like you said, it's the core of your business. It's what gets your offer out there in front of your audience and makes you relevant in the marketplace. And I know for some people, launching can be scary because it can be a big deal, but this is what gets your offer out there. This is what gets you known. And we're going to share some tips on really building this list so that you can get your launch out there even more to your audience.
Yeah. So before we go into the list itself, I just wanted to take a step back because a lot of people, if you're just coming into their marketing space, you're like, what is this whole, are they saying they're going out to lunch? You know, like what is going on? What is a launch? You know? And the best way that I can describe it, now, of course, there's more complex, more detailed ways, but if you really think about it, a launch is more or less like a timed promotion. And that means you are specifically going to a calendar, you're picking a date and time, and you have like an open and closed opportunity. Think about like your favorite restaurant, like they might have an event once a year or any event that's out there. In a way, you're going to treat your launch like your promotion like an event.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's great about that is when it's treated like an event, it gives some urgency for people to check it out and participate in the launch itself. I mean, you might be wondering, why can't I just put my product out there and just have it for sale forever? You can do that. But with a launch, what's great, it creates that excitement, anticipation, and that buildup that your audience is looking forward to.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing for a lot of us, we learn it's not Field of Dreams. So like when we build it, for some reason they do not come. So when you have that store open equivalent like we see in the real world, we're just sitting here waiting for that traffic to go by and like nobody pulls into our parking lot and buys our thing. And really this is a mechanism, a sales mechanism, a promotion mechanism that's going to cause people to come in. Now, we are talking about the list element of your launch today though. So what I'm really excited is to dive in on this end because Melissa, a lot of people kind of mess up their list itself. They kind of homogenize, they put everything in one list. Do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're building your list and when you first get started, and if you're doing this right now, it's okay. Yeah. But when you first get started, everybody goes on that list from your mom to your best friends. And then once you start to get your offer out there, more and more people come onto your list. And that's great at first. But then at some point, we want to start to segment our list into different sections so that we can speak to our list in different ways. Because you definitely would talk differently to your mom than someone else on your list that actually would be coming in and wanting to buy your product.
Yeah. So if you think about it, like along the way, let's say this past couple months or past year, you might have done different promotions. You might have put different freebies out into the world. You might have done a podcast or something like that, and people came into your world. Now, those people came into your world. They might have given you their email address for a multitude of different reasons, but they might not have necessarily came into your world where they did want this promotion that you're about to make to them. So a lot of times you'll see, and you've probably participated in this, I know we do on an ongoing basis, when you see somebody going into a launch, they typically promote and announce and get excitement going on. And they end up creating like a wait list or a launch list where people are purposely opting in to go through some type of mechanism. It could be a webinar, it could be a training series, could be a challenge. Like there's so many different methods that are out there. We'll get into that in another episode. But that person's never think about like the intent, like somebody that actually signs up for a webinar, somebody that actually signs up for a challenge or a free training series. They have intent there, right? That's not somebody that like 6 months ago that was like, oh, I really like what you said there, and I'm going to download you freebie. And there's a disconnect because really there's two different lists there.
Absolutely. And so when you start to segment those lists and have your launch list and the list with everyone else on it, that could be called your house list. Yeah. You can talk to those people differently. So then when you go into your launch, you can actually speak about the launch itself. They're already waiting for it. They know about it. It's not coming out of the blue and they're excited about it. And it just makes your audience feel a little bit more connected with you because again, you're speaking to them, meeting meeting them where they're at, as opposed to just like kind of guessing, where they are on the list and how they came into your world.
Yeah. And if you think about it, when you have that list, you could create, we always want to begin with the end in mind, number one. So when you look at this mechanism, like however you are launching itself, putting that time promotion, that event out there, you're going to want to create excitement. You're going to want to create curiosity. You're going to want people to do it. And this is in social media as well as on your list. Like coming back to that person from 6 months ago, you can still create excitement with them to get them interested and get them in the way, even though they're on your list, get them to kind of re-opt in to come in on the wait list of this promotion that you're about to do. So there's a lot of things that we can do, but we definitely want to begin with the end in mind.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep that in mind. And as you're creating your content, your social media, your lead magnets for your list building, those are things that you could also tailor according to your launch. And so you just want to make sure everything is aligned with that. Again, having the conversations that make sense, that are going to bring people directly in through your launch vehicle. Again, that time promotion that you're going to have, and just making sure it makes sense for them, something that they're interested, something they're excited about. And then you can really have a conversation that means something to them and that's aligned with why they came into your list to begin with.
Yeah, and that's really key to think about. So if you know like what your offer is, and you're going to create a launch in front of that, right? So begin with the end in mind. You're going to create something in front of that. That's that launch vehicle that Melissa was just talking about. And from there, you know what problems you're going to solve or what topics you're going to talk about in that in order to get people excited to want to buy your offer. So when you look at your social media posts, and even like, for instance, podcasts like we're doing here, or you could be on YouTube or Pinterest or LinkedIn, like whatever the social media channels that you're into. If you're intentional, if you align the content, the outgoing content that you're putting in those social media channels with what you're going to talk about in the launch. So now that you know what those things are, in a way, you're building everything backwards. You're going step by step. So now you have more intentionality behind each of these phases. So in a way, like all your social media, your email, the ads, anything that you're doing publicly, it's guiding the right people. Like the people are tuning in, they're getting excited about what you're going to talk about. And then when you bring them into that launch vehicle, it's like, it's perfect because you've been in this conversation already. And the alignment, I think, is very key, because a lot of people just do like random topics and they're like all over the place all the time. And then when they go to launch something, it feels disconnected sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that we want to remind you too is that launches can be really simple. I know we've been talking about social media, lead magnets, different types of emails, and you might already be like spinning a little bit thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do all these things for this launch. And you're not alone with that. We coach a lot of people when they're going through a launch and they get a little bit hung up sometimes on the details. Again, it's really all about doing a couple things really well, thinking about how you can communicate with your audience. Again, keep it connected with how they came into your list and guide them along to get them excited about going through your launch.
Yeah. And again, coming back to keep it simple, right? So for a lot of us, we tend to complicate things. We buy into a lot of shiny objects out in the world, 25 different ways and methods to get to this result. An interesting thing is when things are simple, we just get things done, right? And we can go into a launch with that intentionality. We don't need to do the 30,000 things that you might see somebody else out there in the market doing. Our version 1 or our version 2 should be very simple. And then we can slowly build. Every time we do a launch, we can just layer in something extra, something a little extra, but we don't need to do the 20 things right out the gate. Now, one of the things that we both noticed over the years, though, is without a plan, without a schedule, without a system or process in place going into a launch, a lot of times these things, they're willy-nilly, they're all over the place. It's disorganized and create a lot of stress. And I'm really excited, Melissa, because I think we've put something together that can actually decrease that stress for everyone.
Absolutely. So we have our launch list building planner, and this is really going to help you make that plan for your launch when it comes to list building, how you can track the right people into your world and really get them interested in what you're doing. And again, nurturing that relationship from when they come onto your list to when you launch. So again, you want to check out our launch list building planner, go to the show notes, and you can grab that and get started with planning your launch and the list building that makes sense for you.
Yeah, and this is a freebie, so this is something you're able to download anytime that you want. So if you're not even launching right now, this is a great thing to have so that you go into a launch being very prepared. Because again, the last thing that you want to do is you don't want to be at the 11th hour going, oh my goodness, I need to put this promotion out tomorrow. I didn't put all the things in place. Now that's definitely where people get overwhelmed and make things very complicated and complex. This is all about preparation. This is all about in advance, putting together the pieces step by step. And it's really awesome that we put this together today. Now, Melissa, today was in our launch series here, a credible episode. We talked about some of our top tips when it comes to the list element of launching itself, which is so key, so vitally important. Like doing this step correctly going into launch will make a major swing. You know, small hinges move big doors. And it's like this makes a major swing as far as the effectiveness of how successful or not your launch will be. Now, from that, when we begin with the end in mind, we are going to build things backwards. So we're going to, based on that launch vehicle, we're going to create assets. We're going to put social media posts out there, you know, podcasts, and anything that's within our capacity. But then we got to come back and remember, like, we don't need to do 30,000 things in order to have successful launch. Some of the most successful people out there keep things very simple. And this is all about, again, taking advantage of our freebie today, where we can get you on that step of simplicity by downloading that planner itself.
Yes. So such a great episode. If you loved today's episode, make sure you head over and subscribe to the Online Marketing Podcast. This is where we talk all things about online marketing and selling your offers, and share it with a friend. Let them know this is what we do. We jam on as well too. We would love to have them join us.
Yeah. So until we talk again, keep launching, and also always remember, you're just one step away of becoming an adaptive marketer.
If you would like to work with us and our team to help you snap up more sales and incredible clients with a stellar marketing strategy that works, go to adaptivemembership.com and sign up for our wait list. We have a limited number of spots in our exclusive program to set you up for success and take action. We're waiting for you at adaptivemembership.com.